Lovely. Sunny day. Let's reach overhead, the legs nice and wide, stretch into the fingers, let the hips sway side to side, a nice gentle start to mobilize the body. All the joints, nice small movements, just waking up all the muscles of the body. Keep going, we're going to float one arm down and reach into the fingers all the way down before taking it to the other side. I'm just going to check we're all muted. Good. So taking it side to side, maybe time for 2 on each side. With this arm that we're lowering, we're reaching it slightly behind the body, palm facing upwards, and just pausing. It's at the point where we're getting extra intense sensations down the arm, just pausing and allowing them to soften. We're supporting the head, so there's no forcing into that neck bend. And side to side. Reaching into those fingertips, allowing any movement in the hips. You want to circle out the hips. And then let's wring out the shoulders, so arms out wide, internally rotate. Feel the shoulder blades coming apart, and then externally rotate, feeling the chest open wide, shoulder blades come together. Any easing out you feel you need to do in the neck, just crack on. Forwards and backwards a few times. Now notice our impulse is to lead with the hands. For the next couple of rounds, can you see if you can make the elbow, wrist, hands soft and concentrate on the muscles of the chest, contracting and drawing the shoulder forward. So we're more focusing on that shoulder joint and then using the upper back muscles to draw the shoulder back and down to externally rotate. So it's just a slightly different emphasis. You can allow the chin to drop as we internally rotate, but it's sometimes helpful to actually picture that ball and socket joint and just feel the movement coming from the top of your arm rather than forcing it through our more readily isolated sets of muscles in the wrist, where we've got a bit more dexterity, or it feels we've maybe got a bit more control over those muscles. So just working really deeply into the shoulder muscles. And then we're taking a twist, arms overhead. So soften the knees, but try to keep the hips pretty much facing forwards so that we're working on mobilizing the spine, that rotation of the spine, initially with the arms lifted. And then slowly as we start to lower the arms, we'll feel the shift in the focus in the spine. And as we come lower and lower, we'll want to lift that back heel. So we're not then twisting, damaging the knee, to keep that nice line. We're coming into a bend in the knees, feet are slightly turned out, hands on the thighs, and drop the right shoulder towards the left knee, pressing away. So inner thigh stretch and taking that twist a little bit deeper. Maybe you look over that left shoulder. And then the other side, pressing away, inner thigh stretch, twisting and looking in the other direction. Once more each side. Sway the knees side to side. We don't need to be static and feel stuck there. Nice easy sway, hips side to side. Next we're going to come into a fold and sink into the hips. It doesn't matter how far down to the floor you can get. Knees nice and bent. Fingers on the floor or on the hips, but sink into one hip. So you're stretching the skin, the soft tissue on one hip. If you're comfortable, let the upper body weight fold forward so we can relax the back, the neck, and then sink the hips to the other side. Just allowing that decompression of the spine, so nice and heavy through the shoulders, the arms, the head. Second time each side, taking your time just to feel that lovely stretch in the hip. And then rolling up through the spine, see if you can get the head last to come up. Rolling the shoulders back and down, leg swing. So let's shake out now any tension from the legs. Let's take the leg, let's go start with the left. The arms can be that kind of counterbalance. And try and shrug out. So the arms, all the joints now where we've given them a little bit of a stretch. Let's shrug out. Forwards and backwards. Look at something that's not moving. Couple of times, working this sagittal plane, forwards and backwards, and then frontal plane. So taking the leg across the body. Nice soft in the shoulders, jaw. And then finally, a rotation for the hip, just swinging around. The toe can glide or graze the floor. A nice swing in the arms before we take it to the other side. We're ready, other leg. Forwards and backwards, think about exaggerated walk, so the arms flow in the opposite direction, and just try to find that comfortable, steady flow, shrugging out any tension. Are we ready for across the body? Small swing, shoulders down. Obviously, we're starting to wake up all those stabilizing muscles in the core. We're loading on the ankle that we're standing on. So a little bit of strength there. And then a circling movement with the leg. Nice and easy flow. We're going to take a balancing stick now that the brain is perhaps thinking about these stabilizing muscles of the core. So we'll start with the weight into the right foot, arms overhead. Now we'll start just with a knee lifting. So peel the foot off the floor, pull in the front ribs, try and pull these front hip points together and gently lift. And then light as a feather, step through the foot to lower down. So just finding your way there through that movement through the foot into a lift and trying to slow down light as a feather. Think about landing really lightly, so no jarring on the joints. So we're going to go for 4 of those. If possible, this elbow, same elbow to knee. So grip the floor with the feet, standing leg, strong. And as we breathe out, ribs come together, navel to spine, hip points together, elbow to knee, light as a feather. Sometimes even just thinking about a light landing just affords us an extra millisecond, slowing things down. So we're getting that control. 1 second. We can always take out the arms and almost think about a marching foot. So the foot maybe leaves the floor for less time. Doesn't need to lift all the way up. See if we can go for 1 more. Join me for 1 more on this side and we switch legs. So we want to try to feel the tallest we can be at all times here. Almost there's a golden thread from the base of the spine up through the crown of the head. Shake out that standing leg. We'll do the same on the other side. So we want to plant our roots deep into the floor with those toes. Come into a standing position here, and we'll just have a practice round of lifting the right foot, peeling the foot off. It's also sometimes just interesting to learn what imbalances we may have in the body, so that we can maybe increase the reps on the weaker side. But just thinking nice and slowly, gentle, lowering the foot. Okay, we're going to go for 4, elbow to knee. Soften the shoulders, hands can come to the hips, chest wide open. We're just making the heart work a little bit harder here. So option only to add the elbow to a knee. We're just going to go for 4 rounds. We'll be repeating this exercise with opposite elbow to knee. So think about your Pilates plumb line. The chin's nodded into the chest. Feeling grounded through that standing leg. When we lower the foot, hopefully we're going to pretty much hip distance apart with the feet. So we're thinking about how we're loading on that standing leg, inside and outside of the knee. Thinking about strengthening the ankles. Is it 1 more? We're going to go for 1 more. Shoulders back and down. Tummy bottom back to the spine. These front ribs drawing together. And then shake out that leg we've been working. Back to the first side. So we're now lifting the left leg. See if you can take a twist. So a slightly modified version is a small twist and tap. Otherwise, overhead, we'll lift the knee, turn the torso, and it's elbow to knee. Are we ready? So weights into the right leg. Plant your roots. Now peel the foot, the left foot off. Slowly turn the body, elbow to knee. And return, light as a feather, foot to the floor. If it plonks down, don't worry, it's the intention. We'll gradually get lighter on the feet, and it's just that having developing more control over the muscles. There's also like a little bit of a meditation here. You're having to concentrate so hard. There's always somewhere to go. So if you feel this is pretty easy, you can extend the arms and the legs. I'm not feeling quite as secure today, so I'm going to stick with one more in a twist, elbow to knee. We'll always have slightly off days with balance, so but you're being kind to yourself. We're on the other side, shake out. So a lot of weight into one leg. Other side, so plant your roots. Slight tailbone tuck, so we're using those lower abdominals. And let's just have a go, just see whether we want to go for a slightly lower level and go for real quality and control or challenging. Try not to expect the same on both sides. So when you're ready, drawing these hip points together, tummy bottom back to the spine, knee lifts, chest turns, maybe the elbow touches the knees. The intention, the movement, light as a feather, the foot's down. So trying to maintain that slight tilt in the pelvis just means that we maintain a neutral position in the spine. And that's much easier then to keep everything stacked. The ribs over the hips, head over the ribs. And we're getting that lovely Pilates, plumb line. Perfect posture where we're balancing how we're using the muscles front and back of the body. I think we've got one more here. And then we'll take a little pyramid stretch. We've been flexing the hip. So as our counter stretch, we'll extend the hip. So this standing leg that we were working on, step back, toes, knees pointing forwards, the back heel lifted. Now, if we take a long line and think about drawing the hips away from the pelvis and reaching over the ears, tilting the pelvis, we'll start to get a hip flexor stretch on the front of this left leg. So reaching overhead, tilting the pelvis, and then we can start to lengthen fingertips up to the ceiling and straighten up a little bit. It's really important that we're not just hitting the main hip flexors on the fronts of the legs. We want the psoas, the main psoas that goes all the way up to the thorax to get a lengthening here. Deep breath in for a maximum lift and a little bit of straightening up. And then melt the arms down, other side. Step your left foot back. Initially, we're leaning forward, so we're thinking a long, sort of diagonal line. Tilting the pelvis, hip flexor, release into the psoas, reaching overhead. And if you've joined a recent class, I was explaining that at the top of that in-breath, we get a little bit more length into the psoas. So nice deep breath in, the ribs lifting out of the pelvis, and then we can start to think about straightening up a little bit to add on a little bit more stretch. Wonderful. Reaching, and then release the arms down. So that was all very much in the sagittal plane. Let's think across, so we're using the other muscles by circling. So you can start with the head and the arms. Let's go in one direction initially, then the head roll. Thinking about drawing a big circle. Nice, soft, heavy arms, no tension. And the other exercises, we're spreading the fingers now, just finding a nice, easy, rolling, fluid movement, letting the arms flow. So if we step the legs nice and wide, we can start to add in that extended side angle. So that means that the leg that we're bending over, we turn the toes out to the side and reach all the way to the side. Then we straighten up and other side. So keep adjusting where your toes are pointing so that they're always pointing in the direction you're traveling. We're still in the same direction. Shoulders back and down. Think really wide across the chest here. Once more in this direction, and then we're going to change direction. We'll be taking the knee bend out initially. Just head, neck, shoulders, arms, and the other way. So drawing a circle the other way with the head and the arms. With a forward fold. Then we take it to the side, we're just getting the inner thigh stretch here, outer thigh, lengthening. So we'd work the fronts and backs of the legs, so just thinking about the sides of the body now. Of course, with the forward fold, so lengthening the backs of the legs, the hamstrings here. Let's add on that bend. So the knee bends in the direction that we travel. We straighten up the body and the legs and adjust the other foot. So go as slowly as you need to make that, it's almost continuous movement. So the knees tracking over the toes. 2 more and then we finish with this. Now I'm going to give you 2 options for the next thing. It's a roll down, pacing forwards, walking back a couple of rounds. So again, it's very much in that sagittal plane that we'll be returning to. And I'm going to give you an option for those who've got a niggle in the wrists or the shoulders, because the next one is very much just about getting down to the floor and getting up again and strengthening up the body. Let's turn heel the feet in, shake out the legs anywhere that feels a little bit tight. So let me demonstrate or crack on. I think it will make sense to you as we go through. It's the part that will do it speeded up. Pilates roll down, pacing the hands forward to a plank. The feet now walking up to the hands, rolling up through the spine, coming to your tallest, nice long plumb line position before reversing. So do you want to start with me at the front of your space, chin to chest, roll down, articulating through the spine. We're going slow now, the proper pace, giving time for the spine to relax, bend the knees as much as you need to get the hands on the floor and pace the hands back. We'll come to a plank position. You can lower the knees before pacing the hands back and rolling up. But if you know already that this is just going to be too much pressure on the wrists or on your shoulders, you revert to what I'm going to do now. So everyone else, you can travel back and forth along the mat. We can roll down through the spine. And you can either find the floor and briefly sit back on the heels and then come back up and roll up through the spine. Or that part of coming down to the floor, it can be on your bottom. So it's the roll down, coming onto it into a squat, onto your bottom, maybe cross the legs, or fours and return up. Whatever you're doing, I hope you're getting up and down from the floor, just nice and calm. It's all great mobility for the spine, the hips. So once more, I'm going to do the version just crouching to the knees, sitting on the heels, and back up again. Rolling up through the spine. The next time, I'm going to do the version where we sit on the bottom and get up. Finding the floor, cross-legged, rolling onto all fours and rolling up through the spine. Everyone, one more round of the version you're on. I'll take the original one with you if you're with me. Rolling down, pacing forwards, walking forwards, and rolling up through the spine. And the last phase, where you are. Expect this will have got you a little bit warmer. So if everyone can join us now, we'll come together, rolling up through the spine, roll the shoulders back and down, lift the arms overhead, take a good stretch, holding the opposite wrist, and lengthen. We're coming down to the mat. I'm going to adjust the camera. Think a gate position with your right leg out to the side. Are we ready? So we can start on all fours, and from here, extending the right leg, toes pointing forwards. You know, I like to link postures. So we're going to go from the gate to a side kick. Arms overhead, slight tilt in the pelvis. And we melt down over to the right to our gate. Back the head in line with the back of the pelvis. Try not to drop the head forwards. The position that we're going to now is windmilling the arms all the way over, hand to the floor, or fist if you need to protect your wrist. Hand can be on the hip, and we're lifting the leg. Breathe in. As you breathe out, you use your core muscles and the strength in your glutes to take the leg forwards. Minimal movement in the upper body. Breathing in, breathing out, point the toe, reach behind the body with a straight leg. And we go again. Reaching over, let's try to do 2 rounds here. 3 in total, all the way up and over, hand to the floor, lift, breath in to prepare, using the strength of the brow, out breath, leg comes forwards, returns on the in-breath, out breath, point the toe, extension of the hip, and return. Last round, into the gate, and side kick. So arm lifted or on the hip, tilting the pelvis, neutral spine, nice long neck here. Point the toe, extend the hip. Last one. Side bend, side kick, out breath, leg comes forwards, out breath, leg back. Great. We're going to switch sides. Extend the left leg, toes pointed forwards, arms overhead. Deep breath in, pelvic tilt, a little bit of a nice hip stretch here. Breath out, melting, flowing down to the left. And then hand to the floor. Ideally, shoulder right over the wrist. Shoulders stacked, lifting. Now, core strong, out breath, leg forwards. Don't worry if it's on the floor, just draw a line backwards, extend the hip. It's fine. Back into the gate, foot flat to the floor. Nice flow, shoulders soft, out breath. One more. Maybe looking up on the inside of the armpit. Last time, side kick. Well done. We're going to come on to our fronts. We're going to take the half bow and then the full bow option. If you've got a strap, grab it if you know it's hard to reach your ankle. On your bellies, rest on your forearm of one hand, one arm, and then reach back and take your ankle. So here we want to think about length along the front of the leg. Picture that crease at the top of the leg. And we want to eliminate it by finding space in the hip joints. So sending the knee to the wall behind you, foot into the fleshy bit of your bum, tilting the pelvis so the pubic bone's pressing into the floor and we're not arching the spine. Breathing deeply and think length. Maybe as the muscles on the front of the leg start to relax, you may be able to lift the leg and almost place it a little bit further away. A gentle rock here, side to side, will just reveal any other tension, maybe more into the inner thigh, hip flexors, or roll into the outer hip, more the outer hip. Give yourself another breath on the side, and then we're switching to the other leg. So hopefully you're resting your head down, not craning up like me to look up at you. Softening and releasing. No pinging the ankle, gently release and switch sides. Draw the foot in. Sometimes sitting up, looking back and finding your foot makes it a little bit easier. So then finding length in the front of the thigh. Closing your eyes if you can, if you're comfortable with that. And focusing all your efforts on finding length and space in the hip joint. Even the knee, sending the knee away. That little rock side to side on the hips, from one hip crest to the other, just to find any other tight points. Eliminate the crease at the top of the leg. Give yourself one more breath on this side. And then options. We're either going to reach back for both ankles, rolling the shoulders back and pressing the ankles into the hands for a small lift in the chest, chest opener, or you're going to take a child pose. So that's hands under the shoulders, pressing back, sitting back on the heels and walking the hands, the fingertips all the way forwards, resting down. A little rock side to side. If you're in the full Dhanurasana, the full bow pose, slowly come out and sit back on your heels and join the rest of us in child pose. Stay in this folded position, but reach the hands back behind you and clasp them behind your back. Roll the shoulders back and down and lengthen. Find space now in the shoulder joint, still with the head resting down. Maybe the clasped hands can reach up to the ceiling, just working into the shoulders. Head last to come up, hands under the shoulders, rebuild the spine and come up and join me for the teaser. So last little bit of a blast for the end of your class. Knees bent, feet flat to the floor. Now a long spine. Can we avoid doing a C curve? Think about a long line into the top of the head. We're going to lift the arms gradually and then we'll get a nice stretch for the arms at the end, don't worry. If you can, let's lift the legs, but keep that long line. Now, thinking again about finding space, stretch into the fingers, finding space in the shoulders, the elbows, right into those small joints of the hand. Tummy bottom back to the spine. Take a deep breath in as you breathe out, lengthen the spine, chins tucked into the neck rather than sticking out. Lift the arms maybe a foot higher, shoulders back and down, shoulders back, fingers forward, strong through the arms, front ribs together. Tummy bottom back to the spine, long neck. Lift it a little bit higher, shoulders back and down, a little bit of connection between the shoulder blades. Sometimes it helps think about lifting the chest up to the ceiling, chin still nodded into the chest. And lift a little higher, shoulders back, tummy in, long spine. And the feet can come down to the floor. We can sit a little bit taller. Options, just not lying down yet. I'm kidding, you can. Lift the arms, this is our penultimate reach. So we can reach, palms facing upwards, shoulders back and down the chest, reaching up to the ceiling, your core muscles so strong. A little bit of heat building up now, right? Last one, reaching into those fingers, arms strengthening and strong, core strong. Breathe and reach into those fingers. And then float the arms and legs down. Come to a comfortable sitting position. Extend the arms overhead. Right arm down your back. Lift the elbow towards the ceiling. A little bit of pressure from the head into the forearms. Shoulders down. Try and relax the knees if you're in easy pose. Cross-legged. And just breathe. You know, it's just stretching, releasing now. You can sway. It just adds a nice little stretch into the lats and into the triceps there. Same arm across the body, cradle it from underneath and gently prise the arm out of its socket, but use your strength to draw back. So we're finding space in this shoulder, shoulders down away from the ears, and let's circle the wrist of the arm that we're stretching. Sitting tall, whatever your preferred sitting position is. Same arm we're working, palm forwards, fingers down, relax the shoulders. Then we can just take the head side to side. Fingers down, palm towards you, flex, fingers down, shoulders down, and other side. Overhead. Drop the left arm down the back, use your fingers to crawl a little bit further down, elbow lifting, and then shoulders down. Try to press the head back slightly, but no forcing. Elbow pointing up, chest open. Nice deep breath in and out of the nose. Same arm across the body, gently prise it out of the socket, but pull back little tug of war to create some space in the joint and circle the wrist. Both directions with the wrist. And then your palm towards me, fingers to the earth, pressing into the knuckles rather than the fingers. So you get a proper stretch in the wrist, no forcing. And finally the other way. Fingers down, again flexing on the knuckles, not the fingers. Get the true stretch in the wrists. We're just going to roll out the shoulders and then that's it. Up to the ears and shoulders back and down. Breathe in and lift. And back and down. Last time. Nice big shoulder roll. Shake out. Extend your legs. Have a little rock from one bottom cheek to the other. And let's unmute you.